just had some massive wide receiver news come down today. So DK Metcalf is now a Pittsburgh Steeler. Davante Adams is now a Ram. And there's more to come. Free agency actually doesn't even open until, I think, tomorrow or later this week or something. It's Sunday night right now. But either way, we've got a lot to do. In this video, you read the title. We're going to be grading or ranking wide receivers at this point because, hey, we're in a weird part of the offseason where I'm still working on my rookie stuff. I know I've been talking about a quarterbacks video if you've been watching my channel for the last few videos, but we just moved, so I'm still working on stuff. I'm incredibly busy right now. We've had a lot going on in our life, so here we are, going to do this one. It's a little bit easier for me to just kind of get out there and get something out there for you guys. So I hope you enjoy it. Please click that like button and that subscribe button. It really does mean a ton to me and helps me keep this channel going. But hey, guess what? Just as usual, we got to talk about Dubby. Dubby right here, you see them behind me. I got 5 different flavors, and I've got more coming, actually. They're my favorite energy drinks right now. They are delicious, number one. That's the most important thing. And also cost-effective. So check out W.GG. Use code SHREDDER, SHRD3R, for 10% off of anything on their website. Just check it out. And you know what? Maybe you don't want to buy a whole tub of 30 servings because, you know, you're like, I don't know if I like it. Well, guess what? Single serving packages, that's upside down. This right here is the same thing as this right here. You can see that, right? Push and punch. It's a great flavor. It's their fruit punch flavor, obviously, and I love it. So check them out. Use code SHREDDER. Get yourself a discount, and let's get to this video. I'll just say, yeah, the background, it's a mess. I know this is real life, and I'm not going to doll it up for you. I have one child who's a 1-year-old, and I have one on the way now. So it's life, okay? We'll deal with it. Anyways, I'm feeling a little ruthless today. This list is going to be pretty brash. So moving on, AD Mitchell. If you've been around my channel for a while, you know that I am a big fan of the prospect that is AD Mitchell, right? Right now, how are you even here? He did basically nothing his rookie year. Yeah, not anything. And I like AD Mitchell. I like the player. I like what he has potential-wise, but we've got a lot to see for him to even consider being an NFL player for the rest of his career. A.J. Brown, in my opinion, he's elite. He's probably a top 5 receiver in the league, and we'll establish top 5 here in this class. There may only be 5 elite players in the league. I'm not sure. Amari Cooper, that feels like it needs to be in a tier of its own. I'm going to put him in mid. He's Amari Cooper. He was a great receiver, but last year was bad. So bad that they didn't even use him in a team, Buffalo, that just doesn't even have good receivers. So what else do I put you in? I don't know. There's some respect there. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Number 2. Okay, there is definitely. Hold on. There has to be a tier here. Hold on. I've got to do something. YR1 material, right? That's what that's going to be called. Is there a color for this? We'll go with that one right there. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's definitely wide receiver 1 material. Different style wide receiver 1 than most, but still very, very, very good. No doubt about that. But at this point, just, you know, he's not elite. I would definitely not call him elite. Brandon Cooks, below average anymore especially. Just, he's like the best receiver ever. If you know, you know. Brandon Ayuk, great number 2. Great number 2. Like, top of the top number 2s. I do think he has the chance to be wide receiver 1 material, but we haven't really fully seen that from him. Deebo Samuel has been in the same team as him for their whole careers to this point, so, you know, it's what we got. It's what we got to work with. Brandon Ayuk, he could be really good. I'm just not sure if he is officially. He's not elite. Definitely not elite. He's pretty good, you know? Brian Thomas Jr., at this point, he's a great number 2. Yes, he had a phenomenal rookie season. If you know me and my channel, rookies don't get credit. Like Jaden Daniels right now, he's not a top 5 quarterback, not a top 7 quarterback. Why? He played 1 year in the league. Why should I give him any credit for stuff he's not done? End of story. Brian Thomas, though, you know, he's played, like I said, they've played 1 year. Let him develop. Let's stop putting ridiculous expectations. Like C.J. Stroud, rookie, he's so good, he's top 5. And then this year he comes out and actually plays just about the same. Just about the same. It's just the expectation was higher. And they're like, oh, he sucks now. He doesn't suck. You just are being ridiculous. Brian Thomas, great number 2, easily could rise up to the wide receiver 1 material very quickly. We just got to see it. Give him some time. Calvin Ridley, below average. He sucks. End of story. CeeDee Lamb, elite. Definitely elite. Who would I take over these two? Probably CeeDee. Probably CeeDee. I feel like he's a more complete receiver. Better route runner. Probably slightly better after the catch. A.J. Brown probably has better hands as is. Yeah, I'm good with that. Chris Godwin. And these tiers aren't necessarily ranked. Like, Calvin Ridley is not necessarily worse than Brandon Cooks. I might rank this one. That's about it. Chris Godwin. Great number 2. Great number 2. That's probably all he's been for his career. Granted, He's only been in a number 2 role, but he's done it as well as you can. Really can't argue with that at all. Chris Olave, solid. Honestly, I don't think he is all that great. He's not proven anything. Could that be his quarterback's fault? Possibly. Sure, I would give you that if you want to argue that. But the point still remains he hasn't proven anything, so why should we give him credit for it? Boom. Christian Kirk, mid. Way too much money he was making in Jacksonville for what he's worth. Very glad that, I'm a Pittsburgh fan, and, we got DK Metcalf now. Very glad we got DK over him, and we'll talk about DK in a minute. I'm not even the biggest fan of him, but you'll see. Anyways, Christian Watson, how are you here? Mainly because your injuries, but how are you here? What have you done? I'm waiting. Cooper Kupp at this point in his career, okay, if you're talking about Cooper Kupp as a peak player, we're talking about wide receiver 1 material. Not elite, but wide receiver 1 material for sure. Yes, he had the Triple Crown season. That was a lot going into that. Let's kind of, he's still just wide receiver 1 material. But at this point in his career, I think he's somewhere in between these two tiers because I think the type of receiver Cooper Kupp can relay for a long-term career. Like a speedster who loses their speed, when they hit 31, 32, okay, that receiver's kind of going to be cooked in their career just because they're not going to have much. But this guy, he's a route runner, good hands, willing blocker, physical player. That's going to translate to an older age player. The main thing for him is, can he stay healthy? I'm still going to give him the honor of a great number 2 just because he probably deserves it. And if he's your number 2, you're in a pretty good spot. You really are. Courtland Sutton, once again, great number 2. He's not a number 1 guy. And if you think he is, you're either wrong or a Broncos fan. So, move on. Curtis Samuel, I had a lot of expectation for him in Buffalo this past year. Didn't go well. Not at all. I would say he's about mid. I'd think this is a good level to put him on. He's just not any better than that. I just can't give him any more. Davante Adams, so he just got paid $23 million a year to go to the Rams. I think that's a pretty good value deal for the Rams in my opinion. Where does he put now in his career? I think he's probably wide receiver 1 material. Yes, his year in the Jets last year was rough. He wasn't there the whole year. He didn't get a training camp. He had the weird stuff with the Raiders in the beginning of the season. There's a lot going into that year. I don't know if I can blame him for it. Now, if he's bad next year, we'll see 2 years in a row. All right, we'll bring him down to a great number 2, maybe solid. But at this point, I think he still can be relied upon. I think he's still a really good receiver. And I'm just, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt for now because he's had a long, great career. DeAndre Hopkins, at this point, he's solid. He's not the elite receiver he once was at all, but really good hands, really reliable. You're not worried about him. He's going to be what he is, and that's going to be great. Solid, no doubt about it. Deebo Samuel. Solid. I've never, ever been a big fan of Deebo Samuel. I just don't care for his game, the way he plays. He's not a receiver. He's a football player, which is fine. He's not elite. He's kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. And that's why he's in solid because if you just want to line him up as a receiver, run him on routes, he's not going to be very dynamic, very successful. Now, you use him as a gadget player, doing different things, you're going to make something happen. But as a receiver, just not Deebo Samuel, not my type. Devontae Smith, great number 2. I mean, I'm talking like him, Brandon Ayuk right now, top number 2 receivers in the league. You want them as your number 2. I would be concerned if he was your 1, mainly because we haven't seen him play the role of a 1. But let's wait on that to happen. Deontay Johnson, below, I'm going to put him at mid. He didn't stick around with any team last year, but I feel like, honestly, we've seen him be so good with such bad situations in Pittsburgh that I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He bounced around a lot last year, and I don't know. Maybe it's an attitude issue. We'll bump him down. I just feel like it's a little disrespectful to put him on this tier, but either way. DJ Moore, he belongs perfectly in the center of these two. Wide receiver 1 material, we'll lean that way, though. I'm not going to make any more tiers. He's good. He's really good. He's really good. But he's not great. Definitely not great. I'd take Amon-Ra St. Brown. If I knew Davante Adams would give me a most of Davante Adams-like career season next year, I would take Davante Adams for sure. It's just, is Davante Adams too old? I don't know. It's hard to gauge, but he's not any better than what they could be this coming year. That's for sure. DK Metcalf. All right, here we go. Talking about the trade deal, right? Pittsburgh overpaid massively because not only did they give him a second-round pick, but they also had to give him a $30 million per year contract for 5 years. You do that number, $30 million, that's a third-round pick, maybe a third and a sixth. But a second, that's pretty steep for a guy who was on the last year of his deal with a team who he didn't want to be on anymore. I think that's a lot. So, yeah, he's good, but he is a great number 2. There's like levels to this tier, and like these 3 are kind of on their own tier than these 3. Brian Thomas easily could raise up this, but Chris Godwin's kind of up. He's kind of in the middle, right? If this is a 7-man tier, these aren't necessarily in order. I don't necessarily know that DK. I think I'd take Ayuk over DK. I don't know. He's somewhere through here, maybe above Ayuk, but something. So let's just go ahead and do it. Something like this. And then Chris Godwin's in the center, like really, really good, but just not elite. These guys are like, could they maybe be elite one day? Maybe. These guys are like, well, they're either not going to be elite, have been maybe elite in the past, and, could be elite in the future, but we just got to have more time. Yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at there. I just explained that a lot. But DK Metcalf, he's not great. They paid a lot. He's fine. He's really solid. Nothing to worry about. Move on. Dontavion Wicks. Packers fans will tell you he's here, even though he's done a whole lot of nothing in his career. In reality, sorry Packers fans, he's mid. I'd say he's mid. He's like on the lower end of mid, like the Curtis Samuel, not Amari Cooper side of mid. That sounds good. Drake London. Oh, this one's gonna be spicy. This one I already know. He's a great number 2. He's probably, if we're keeping this tier ranked as we were, he's probably about here. About here. I don't think he's proven to be as good as Chris Godwin, but he's definitely proven more than Brian Thomas. So he's like in another little section of his own, like kind of just his own thing. He's not the proven commodity that Chris Godwin is, but he's also not like, yeah, you get the point. Garrett Wilson, same exact thing as Drake London, actually. Same exact thing. I don't think Garrett Wilson is amazing. I think he is. That one's going to be kind of spicy, too. I already know it. He's good, don't get me wrong, but like, not amazing, okay? George Pickens. Definitely a type of player who could be wide receiver 1 material in the future. Right now, though, definitely great number 2. He's in this tier as well. If I had to rank these 3 in this tier, it's probably... I'd probably do this. Wilson, Pickens. No, Pickens seems to have more flash to him, like a flash of greatness. I'd probably do Pickens, Wilson, London. And that's very, very, very close. You're splitting hairs. Like, if you want to put a Madden rating to it just to associate a number, they're all the same rating. It's just who has the more upside. I just feel like these two kind of have a little bit more. So, anyways, Jahan Dotson did a whole lot of nothing for the Commanders. Well, had a good year. Then did a whole lot of nothing. Then got traded for way more than he should have. But then he caught that big pass in the Super Bowl. But, like, am I going to grade his whole career on one catch? Solid. Mid. I'll put him at the top of mid. That's where he's going. Jamar Chase, elite. I don't think he's better than CeeDee Lamb, but I'll put him there. That's my opinion. You can, deal with that. Jameson Williams, solid. Low end of solid, okay? Better than mid for sure. But he's kind of like a Debo. He's kind of gadgety. Like, you don't really just use him as a standard receiver. He's very, like, specifically utilized player, if that makes sense. Jackson Smith-Njigba, this one's going to be spicy. Solid. Yeah, he had a ton of yards last year on a good amount of catches and a really great season. Not a big Jackson Smith-Njigba fan. Just hasn't really, buttered my biscuits to this point in his career. I think we're going to still be fine. He might be something, but at this point, the ceiling for him seems low. The floor is high, ceiling low. That makes sense? Cool. Jaden Reed, solid. He's like a Chris Olave kind of, like, really good player. Like, if he's your one, like, you're like, we need another guy, but we're fine, I guess. Whatever. Jalen Waddle, really great number 2. Not wide receiver 1 material, in my opinion. Fits in this tier, though. Him and Devontae Smith kind of tied. Whatever. Jordan Addison, same deal. He probably fits in this Pickens, Wilson, London tier. Where does he go? I'd probably say before London. I'm not a big fan of London. I don't think he's bad. I just think the ceiling is like, Madden ratings are stupid, but the number association makes it work, right? If we're talking about ceilings in the future, Pickens could be a 95. Wilson could be about a 95, 94. Addison like a 93. London, I'm more like a 91, 90, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, good receiver, no doubt about it, but like just never going to reach that height that some of these other guys will. Justin Jefferson, elite. Probably the best receiver in the league. Him and CeeDee Lamb are probably tied in my opinion. Yeah, we'll go with that. Keenan Allen. At this point in his career, great number 2. Cooper Kupp-ish. Right? Yeah, you see. Keon Coleman. Mid. He did nothing this year. Did nothing at all. Ladd McConkey. Great number 2. Brian Thomas-esque. He's like between, I'm going to put him here, but kind of disregard Cooper Kupp and Keenan Allen. He's kind of between Brian Thomas and Courtland Sutton. Courtland Sutton, obviously, never going to be a wide receiver 1 material type of guy, in my opinion. Brian Thomas Jr. definitely could be. Loudon McConkey, role, stylistical, like receiver, probably a career number 2. But, like, had flashes that I was a little impressed with. I ain't going to lie. Like, he might be like that Brandon Ayuk, Devontae Smith tier one day where he's like, if he's your one, you're fine. You're good. You're good. But, like, let's chill. Like, let's not go crazy. Malik Neighbors, pretty much same spot. Didn't have the year that Brian Thomas did, and you want to talk about quarterback crap. Not like Brian Thomas really had a great quarterback situation. Trevor Lawrence played like crap, and then he had to deal with Mac Jones, so I don't want to hear it really. Marquise Brown, mid, not special, end of story. Marvin Harrison Jr., put him in solid for now. Had a fine year. That's about it. Not really anything else. Need to live up to the hype more, but, we're getting there. Michael Pittman. I am a Michael Pittman truther, and I will be. He's a good receiver, man. Is he great? No. Is he a great number 2? Probably so. Now, where does he lie in this tier since I have ranked it? There's really like 5 tiers in this wide receiver, great number 2 tier. Older Drake London. Like, could be up to like a 90-91 Madden rating. I hate to associate with that because it's such a stupid way to do it, but I feel like the number association, like, you can get there mentally, right? You know what I'm saying? Anywho, Mike Evans, wide receiver on material at this point in his career, not elite. He's still Mike Evans. Give him his flowers. Move on. Mike Williams, below average. He sucks. Nico Collins. All right, this is where the hype train for Nico Collins is coming to die. Nico Collins has done nothing in his career until the last 2 years, and then had a really good last couple of years, but I believe it was a very much schemed type of play. Now, does that mean he's bad? No. But is he great? I don't think so. I'm going to put him as a great number 2. He's like Chris Godwin, new age Chris Godwin. Look, I mean, they kind of even like, I don't know, same haircut, same beard almost. Like, I don't know. New age Chris Godwin. Think about that, right? If he's your 2, you're like, holy crap, we got a good team. But like, as your 1, you're like, we're chilling, dude. Like, yeah, that's good, Puka Nacua. Here. Right there. Right. Higher ceiling than Smith and Waddle. Lower floor than Ayuk and Metcalf, but I feel like Metcalf's floor is lower, but his ceiling's higher. I feel like Metcalf has a much higher ceiling, but a much lower floor than Ayuk or Nacua, but we're going to go with that. Rashee Rice. Hold on. I don't even know. Rashee Rice. Okay, you got to remember he got knee backward kapluied by his quarterback. But he's really not that special. I think he's another Chris Olave, Jaden Reed. Like, they utilize him well, don't get me wrong. But as a talent, I don't feel like Rashee Rice is on the level of Addison, Wilson, Pickens, London. I just don't feel like it. Like, it just doesn't feel like that at all. Roma Dunze had a year this past year. Fine. Did fine. Just doesn't really deserve any. Solid is the best I can give him, and I'll do that much because I feel like he was better than Keon Coleman by a decent margin. But he wasn't even as good as Marvin Harrison, so there's that line there. Stephon Diggs, at this point in his career, great number 2. Cooper Kupp, Keenan Allen, how about him? Tank Dell, solid player. Once again, Jaden Reed, Rashee Rice, Chris Olave, that's where he fits in. T. Higgins, ooh, this one's going to be interesting. T. Higgins, franchise tagged by the Bengals. Where does he land on this list? I don't know. I don't like this one at all. I'm going to go great number 2. I don't think he is ever going to be wide receiver 1. I just don't feel like he is that good. I feel like he's a lower ceiling than all of these guys, but his floor is pretty good as long as he's healthy. He's definitely, I think that's exactly what I like. Lower ceiling than all these, kind of Chris Godwin-like, but with a different skill set, obviously. In terms of talent, they're both equated, but they have completely different skill sets, so just disregard that part. We'll go with that. Terry McLaurin, wide receiver 1 material, for sure. We'll go ahead and rank this tier 2 just because it's not that much. I'd probably put him there. I think I'd take everybody else ahead of him. That's just my opinion. Moving on. Tyler Lockett. Ooh, old, zesty, and mid. Possession receiver at its finest. At this point, he's Christian Kirk. At this point. That sucks because Tyler Lockett really is cool. Tyreek Hill. This is a tough one. He's been so dang good for so long. I feel disrespectful putting him anywhere but elite. Yes, this past year was rough. There was a lot of factors in that. Tua's health, Dolphins sucking across the board. He's going to win our last spot of elite, but he is on thin ice. Like, we go 2 weeks into next season, he doesn't have a 100-yard game. He's toast, cooked, down to the bottom of wide receiver 1, maybe even top number, great number 2. End of story. Xavier Worthy. This is tough because he's hard to read. You know, he had a good year as a rookie, but is he that great? I don't think so. He was schemed up well, utilized well in an offense where they had a lot of receiver issues, so he had to be used well, right? Following me, picking up what I'm putting down here. We're also, I just realized, kind of in a funky spot. I'll show you the whole list in a minute. Xavier Worthy, we're going to put him solid. Yeah, that's it. I just feel like he was schemed well. We'll put him ahead of the other two, but not in front of Jackson Smith and Jigba. I just feel like he was utilized well, but just he's not that talented. Zay Flowers, this is going to be another one that is going to get a lot of hate. I know that much. He's not as good as Drake London, but he's in that tier of like, yeah, they maybe could, you know, let's see. So here's where we're drawing the line for this tier, because this is a messy tier, right? So these guys are like, okay, could be wide receiver ones in the future if they develop some more. These are like just super solid career number twos, but like you're chilling if they're your one. T. Higgins, Chris Godwin, Nico Collins, right? These are like your up and comings that are like, yeah, if they're your two, you're good, but like they really could be number ones, but we just haven't seen anywhere near enough for them. That's Pickens, Wilson, Addison, London, and Flowers. Same with Brian Thomas, kind of. Pittman is weird because he is a little older, but like I just feel like he has a really high floor of a receiver. I don't know. Actually, this year wasn't so great for him. I'll drop him down. We'll drop him down here. Whatever. Yeah, that's it. I'm not ranking this tier or this tier in line, but we'll rank this one and these two. So, Jefferson, CD, Jamar, AJ Brown, Tyreek Hill. That seems fair for now. That one I've already ranked. I don't think DJ Moore's better. Give me Terry McLaurin over DJ Moore. Yep, that's what I'm doing right there. Amon-Ra St. Brown's just too useful at this point. That looks pretty good to me. Obviously, the bottom of our list is Adonai Mitchell and Christian Watson. They can't stay healthy. Where is it? Romeo Doubs is not on here. He's one I'm thinking of. So we'll put him in. Bottom of solid. He's not as good as Jaden Reed, but he's not any worse than Jackson Smith and Jigba effectively. So we'll put him in like the mid, right about here, actually, above Jameson Williams. I feel like Jameson Williams is more gadgety than he is. That's pretty much where we're going to do it today. These are my receiver rankings. Let me know down in the comments what you think. These are my opinions, and guess what? We are not going to agree on everything, so that's cool. We can have different opinions. I love to hear your thoughts, but like let's keep it, PG in the comments, okay? There's kids around. Anyways, thank y'all for watching. Hit that subscribe button and that like button. It does me a lot of good, and well, hey, it costs you nothing. So click the button, and then you can exit out of this tab. I don't care. Thanks. See you in the next one.